Hello and welcome to the Team Jackson vlog. I'm Sophie, this is Swift, and this is Sparrow. So in this episode I'm going to talk about the Agility Club, which we've just been to. We're literally just home. And also about what to do when your agility dog starts to have major issues affecting their career and how to make that tough decision about when to retire them. So we have just come back from the Agility Club, Ardingly in West Sussex. This is 2017, so it's this year's show. It was definitely an interesting show because of the weather. Last year when I went, which was my first time at the Agility Club, and we went because Merlin, my Sheltie, had qualified for the finals, the starters finals. And last year it was blistering, the heat was horrendous in a way. It made you sort of really think that, oh, can I run my dog in this? This year was the complete opposite. We had torrential rain on Friday and Saturday, and in fact it's been raining across the country, and in Derbyshire they've had to cancel a outdoor pop festival. They had to actually send people away because it was so bad. Of course the rain is one thing. I got drenched on the Friday, but aside from that, it's the mud that comes about. I mean, it really became muddy. It was got to a stage where you're walking along and I think my trainers are going to come off in this. And then you think to yourself, well, can I run in this? And if I can't run, can my dog run in this? You know, and it does get to that point. They ended up moving quite a few of the rings because they were just simply impossible to run in. And it was really hard. We were lucky that on the Sunday the sun came out and the weather improved, but it was I mean, I don't like running in rain, and I certainly don't like running in mud, and that was tough. I did wonder if it was going to get cancelled, but it didn't. So I wasn't running Merlin, I was only running Sparrow. Friday and Saturday we didn't do very well. My head wasn't in gear, we weren't really concentrating, the weather wasn't helping us, so it was all a bit, you know. Then Sunday, we managed to get ourselves a bit together. I took some time out and I started to think about my focus, how I could improve my mental state on the start line, because I knew it was me rather than her. I knew I was not confident, and then that was causing her to lack confidence. And when she lacks confidence, she hesitates, she questions everything. The other thing that I was doing, and that was pointed out to me, is that in training, when I'm doing certain moves, I keep flowing, moving. In competition, I'm hesitating because I'm making sure she's got it instead of carrying on and trusting her, and that was causing her to hesitate. So on Sunday, I got to the start line. I set myself up to really focus. We started in a tricky combined 4 to 6 jumping class. It was like, oh, I don't think I'm going to get around this. It involved a lot of rear crosses and asking her to be independent on her backside of jumps all around the backs. However, much to my delight, we did get round it, and I was, oh, we've done it. I mean, well, first clear of the weekend, and we got off, and we actually came, in that one we came, I came 4th in that one. So when I checked, I ran quite early in the class, and I said, where have we cut, you check your time. I said, do you know where I've come? They said 4th. And we hung on to that placing throughout the rest of the class, so I was really chuffed with that. We then took a break, and then we went up to the other ring to do graded 4 to 7, or was it 5 to 7? 4 to 7, I think, jumping. This was actually a nicer course. I thought this was a nicer course. But again, it's just so muddy, so I wasn't as fast as I could have been, because the mud was just like, oh, I'm going to be careful here. I'd nearly fallen over in the other ring. She had a couple of hesitant moments because I wasn't running as fast as I expected to be, but we kept moving and it all worked. And we came off clear again. I was like, this is good, 2 in a row clear, much better. And we ended up, again I went and checked where I'd come, and I'd come 2nd, and we ended up holding that place right to the end, so we came away with a 2nd and a 4th, and a lovely trophy, so we were chuffed to bits with that. Agility, we got some lovely running contacts. It was just the judge gave us a refusal because she faffed a little bit on the rear cross. That was fine. So though it started off as a challenging weekend, it definitely got better and improved. And of course for the dogs it was a whole new experience. We were staying in a hotel they hadn't been to before. Only the second time they've been away to a hotel. And I have to say, I mean, last year we stayed at I think it was Travelodge, and we told them we wanted a dog room, and we ended up on the 5th floor. And like, why would you put people with dogs on the 5th floor? Because we have to come down every time the dogs want to go to the toilet in an elevator every time. They'd never been ever in an elevator. Where would they? They wouldn't. So that was a whole new experience for them. This year we were in a nice little hotel, and our room was right next to the garden. I thought we had doors onto the garden, we didn't, but we were really easy to get out there, so that was good. I mean, we were sort of much more in sort of the rural countryside. At one point when we got back in the car park and stopped and I was getting the dogs out, all of a sudden a fox just trotted across the car park, which, so Bernard's going, oh, there's a fox, I have to chase that. So it was nice, but you can tell in a way that you're in the dog room, if that makes sense. When you get put in the dog room, it tends to be the tatty room. It tends to be the one where you go and you go, oh, this could do a bit of a refit, but they're sort of not worrying because they think, well, you're taking dogs in there and you might mess up. So, and it is a little bit off-putting because, you know, you think to yourself, okay, I can understand that dogs can do things. They can pee up beds and they can tear things, but most people are responsible. And in the same way, if you get children at a hotel, they can do all sorts of stuff and they can get up to a lot more mischief. And to be fair, most hotels are going to get more families with children than they are going to get people with dogs staying. So you do feel a little bit like, I mean, the things I noticed as you're going around, you notice things. So there was a knob missing off one of the drawers on a table. Okay, that's not a big deal. The light next to me in bed, it got loose, so it hung down like this, but it was actually completely turned in on itself. So, and then you couldn't adjust it. If you wanted to adjust it to, like, you couldn't. It was supposed to be adjustable, you couldn't. There was a big rip in the wallpaper, which someone had stuck back together with sellotape, that was like the first thing you noticed as you went in. You went, oh, that doesn't look good. There was other bits and pieces. I mean, the whole hotel felt a little bit tired. Carpets were a bit threadbare. Some of the soft furniture in the dining area, you could see where the arms had been. Obviously people had put their arms on and the grease had built up and it had gotten very grimy and grey. So you just felt everything needed a bit of a refit. But the service was lovely in the restaurant. You know, I can't fault that. The service, as I said, the service was lovely. And it was ideal for being right next to it. Swift's first time in a hotel, and it actually went really smoothly, considering she's not always good at going to the toilet outside of home. She was really good, and we got her to go in the garden, so that was a real success. We also got to meet her breeder, Leanne Knight's at Agility Club, and we got to meet her dad, Sonic, who was running in the champ. We got to watch and cheer him on, and Swift definitely cheered him on. I believe he came third in the champ final. Go Sonic! We also got to meet her half-brother Gap, and so actually we had a really, really good time. The whole thing was really, really nice, despite the weather, despite the fact that I was soaked. Oh, that was the thing about being in a hotel. I was soaked on Friday, and I was like, I had to go buy clothes. It was just like, I've gone through my running trousers, my granny trousers, my raincoat was soaked through, that I need to go buy. So we went to Sainsbury's and I bought some fresh clothes. I thought I need something warm and dry to sit in. So that was that. So of course the one thing that was missing from this year's Agility Club compared to last year was, of course, Merlin running. He was there, he was present, he came round, he saw everything. Merlin has been very poor. I don't know if he'll come up. Merlin, gonna come up. Merlin, that's it. You can come up, Merlin. There we are, here's Merlin. Good boy. Good boy. Yeah. So last year I was in the starters final with Merlin. Are you going again? Okay. He said, no, don't want to be up on that bed with everybody else. So last year I was in the starters final with Merlin. He'd qualified us. That's why we went to Agility Club in the first place. And that's why I said, well, this year I'm going back. And he was booked up for various things. He was booked up in the medium KC Olympia qualifier. He was booked up for the Welsh Cup and for something else. And we'd got, we'd done this early in the year, so we had plans for all this. And then, of course, Merlin becomes very poorly this year. So we started with a stomach problem, which they thought was chronic pancreatitis. And then it turned out, like they said, they ended up saying it couldn't be that, so they sort of gave sort of a broad diagnosis of inflammatory bowel disease. We changed his diet, got him right, thought, hey, we're doing okay here. But he continued to have problems running. He just didn't seem to have any stamina. He didn't seem to have any oomph running around. People said he's slowing down. And he just seemed to, he'd just come to a halt and just go, put his head up, and I just thought, something's not right. Then he started all this wheezing and gagging. And the one thing that was really noticeable was he's always reverse sneezed, which, if you've got a small dog, you've probably seen a reverse sneeze. And he'd always done this occasionally, fine, but suddenly he would go into spasms of it. And he'd reverse sneeze, pause, and it would be a spasm that could last, a good minute or more, and it was clearly distressing him because he couldn't stop. And so I was convinced something was wrong. So I ended up taking to the vets, and we ended up at Newmarket at Dick White's referrals, who were brilliant. And anyway, after looking him over, they found two major things. First off, he'd got a heart murmur, which we'd known about for a bit, and because that was my first thought, this was the symptoms of the heart murmur getting worse. So he got the heart murmur. The heart murmur is mitral valve disease, which means one of the valves is letting blood back through. When the heart pumps, it's letting it go. Your valve's supposed to stop, so the blood pumps through, it stops, and that's that. You should only have a one-way system. But what's happening is the valve is letting a little bit back through. This can ultimately cause the chamber in the heart to enlarge and press on the lungs. It's not doing that yet. What has happened is this valve has started to thicken, so there's noticeable signs of disease and change. They think this could potentially get worse, so he's got to go back and have that rechecked at the moment. And he's got to go back in 6 months. At the moment, they don't think that's causing him particular problems. However, the other thing they noticed when they did all these tests and scans, they did an endoscope down the throat, and they found that his pharynx, which is your two bits at the top that prevent you from choking yourself when you swallow, because you don't, you block off your airways when you swallow, and his tonsils and his lungs were all chronically inflamed. They were red, and basically he was having trouble breathing at that point. You imagine it's like having it's even worse than a severe cold. He couldn't breathe, so this is what was causing problems. So they put him on steroids to take the anti-inflammatory down, to get the inflammation down. They don't know what's caused this. It's not an allergy. There's no signs of infection, so they can't say that's what we called it. So they don't know what has caused this problem. So he's on steroids to bring the inflammation down. He'd been on them 3 weeks, and he'd been doing really well as they started to lower the dose to wean them off. And at first it seemed okay, and then the next thing is his symptoms just came back like that. They were just back. So by the time we go to Agility Club, he was back on the double dose of steroids again to try and help him, which, to be fair, it does seem to be working. But it is obviously a worry that this problem, they don't know what causes it. There's possibility the inflammatory bowel disease is an autoimmune condition. It's possible that this is an autoimmune condition, which suggests something going on in a wider system through his body. Long story short, he's obviously got a lot of things going on with him. And I had to start thinking about what's best for him. Now, he is my first proper agility dog. He has taken me to grade 5, which I never expected. He has taken me to finals. He has introduced me through being with him. I've met people, friends, got to know people, got involved in different clubs and shows, etc., etc. He owes me nothing, if you like. And my priority when running agility has always been that my dogs are having fun. They're enjoying what they do, because this is a game. Yeah, I love rosettes and I love trophies and I love to compete, but that at the end of the day they're having fun, they're enjoying, and I always tailor what I'm doing for them to enjoy what's going on. So after all these problems, and we've been having these problems since February, so most of the year, this year so far, and I thought about it for a long while. I thought, I think it's time to consider taking a step back with Merlin and letting him drop to a class that's more suited, that he'll feel more comfortable with, especially if this is a problem that's going to keep flaring up, reoccurring. I just don't know at this stage, and it does look like to be something that's going to keep coming. And with the other things going on, the heart, you think to yourself, there's a few quirks going on. At grade 5 now, to get to grade 6, I'm really going to have to push to get the times to win classes. And to be honest, I don't really want to push him. I also know he doesn't like the really complicated courses. He just doesn't like that. He likes to have a good blast, and I don't blame him. So, after a lot of thinking, and it is hard because he's only 6, and he's right in the middle of suddenly being at the middle of his career, he's in his prime, and he is my guy. He knows all the moves, he knows that. I mean, I got no Sparrow, but she's still that baby dog. She's only 3. She's still inexperienced. He knows it all. He understands. We work together so well. So you're suddenly saying, well, my top dog my primary dog is suddenly out of action, and it looks like that. And it's hard, but again, you have to make what's best for him. There's no point him running if he's not happy. Absolutely no point. So I've made the decision that certainly in the short term, probably in the long term, he is going to drop to any size classes. This means he won't be competing at the top level anymore. He'll be competing in classes where you can pick your size, so he'll probably run micro initially, then hopefully get him up to small. With being poorly and the steroids lose muscle condition, he's also obviously been out of action for a bit. Even before we had the diagnosis, he was obviously not right, so this has meant he hasn't been exercising as well as he should have been. So he's out of condition, so I'm going to start him on micro anyway, just to give him the chance to build back up at training. And I think, we're going to go any size with him. We'll let him have a load of fun. If we see a show that's got a lower height option for medium, then we might do something at lower height. But on the whole, I want him to be having a great time, to be enjoying himself, and hopefully be doing this for several years to come. I mean, I'm hoping we've still got many years in there, even if it's at any size rather than top level. We also do the independents, and he can carry on. The independents are different. They tend to be, I don't want to say easier classes because that sounds awful, but they tend to be, they're usually more generous with their times, which is one thing. But they also tend to be that like on an afternoon, most shows will put on fun classes. That's the word I want, fun. So it's a lot more less pressure, it's more fun, and he can really enjoy that, so that's fine. And I think overall that's the way we're going to go, because at the end of the day, I want him to be happy and I want to enjoy what we're doing. And it is heart-wrenching, but I do. So I suppose what I want to say to people, if you're in a situation like that, you listen to your dog. If you think there's something wrong, even if people are saying to you, oh, he's just, he's being naughty, oh, he's lacking confidence, and I had all this stuff, he's not got enough drive. If you feel in your heart of hearts that something's wrong with that dog, then go check. It was early stages with him. If he was not doing agility, I would not have known that something was wrong until a lot later. But I could see, I knew he was off. I took videos to the specialist, and I had videos of before and after, and she couldn't see it. She said, well, what's the difference? And I said, well, I can see it. I can see he's slow here, and I see, I can see it. And that's it, you know your dog. And the second thing I want to say is make the decision that works for your dog. Look at that dog and say, what makes them happy doing agility? And do I need to rethink my goals? In contrast to Merlin, Sparrow likes to be pushed. She needs to be pushed, to be honest, to be confident. If you keep pushing her, that boosts her confidence and go. Merlin doesn't like to be pushed. He likes to take things, he's always taking things at his own pace, which perhaps suggests there's always been something there. And I think, you've got to know your own dog and say, this is what suits them. This is what I'm going to do for them. And and you sometimes have to make tough decisions. They're tough for you, but at the end of the day, they're not tough for them. They're better for them. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode of my vlog, and I look forward to seeing you all next week and bringing you up to date of what's going on with Team Jackson. What we got coming up? Well, we've got the Broads anniversary, second year anniversary show, which is very exciting. Broads is my club, and they're holding their first show to celebrate 2 years as a club. So looking forward to that. Merlin's going to come out and he's going to do any size micro. We'll see how it goes, fingers crossed. So that's the main thing. Oh, and Swift's got her first puppy agility class. Looking forward to that too. So yeah, there's going to be some great stuff coming up. So I look forward to seeing you all next week. Have a great week and enjoy having fun with your dogs, gang.